Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Relationships are very important in our life. They increase our emotional well being, they create stability in our life, and they also bring us that someone whom you can trust in difficult times, who can take away the loneliness and make you feel included. But what happens when the relationships become toxic? What is toxic relationship in the first place? Today we have with us Miss Sindhura from iCall to discuss little more about toxic relationships, signs of toxic relationships, and what do you do if you are in a toxic relationship. Sindhura holds a master's in counseling psychology from Tata Institute of Social Sciences. She has been working in the areas of child, adolescent, and youth mental health through counseling, research, capacity building, and academic teaching for over 9 years. She has also been involved in creating content such as the best practice guidelines, manuals, and protocols for strengthening mental health programs across the country with multiple government, non government, corporate partners, and humanitarian agencies, including agencies like UNFPA, UNICEF, and WHO. Welcome, Sindhura.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Shilpa.
Relationships, when they go toxic, they become an issue. And we have heard a lot about these things in recent years in media and everywhere else. But what exactly is a toxic relationship, if you can elaborate on that?
So, any relationship in which one partner's behaviors or patterns are emotionally damaging to the other, a relationship that is characterized by disrespect, by insecurity, by a lack of support, frequent conflicts, and one partner is constantly living in fear, that would be a toxic relationship. And you're very right. This is an issue that is concerning a lot of us. A lot of us are finding ourselves in these relationships, and it's very important to understand what could be some of the signs and how do you actually deal with this.
How do I understand that whether I'm in a toxic relationship? Are there any warning signs, probably?
Some signs are really internal, things that you can observe within yourself. Yeah. So, like this feeling of unhappiness, consistent sadness, feeling anxiety, anger, and exhaustion a lot of the time. Okay. It's not that you don't experience this in healthy relationships. Healthy relationships also make us feel negative emotions. Negative emotions are not bad. But when you feel that all the time, if this becomes a trend, it becomes a pattern, then you know that it's a sign of a toxic relationship. There will also be negative shifts in your overall mental health, your self-esteem, the way you think about yourself. You start thinking that you're not a worthy person. You start believing you're not a good enough person. So you really probably also about your body. You feel that you're not, you look ugly, or you really have start to develop this very negative, hateful relationship with yourself and with your body, with your appearance, with all the things that you were okay with so far, or that you felt good about yourself so far. Yeah. So there'll be these shifts that you'll notice. Not spending enough time for yourself, so not getting this free time to do the things that you would have liked to do. So letting go of your hobbies, letting go of things that brought you joy, even at times neglecting your health. Yeah, so it could go to that extent as well. And when you are in this toxic, unhappy relationship, you start to feel the sting when you see other happy couples. You realize that there is something certainly amiss about your relationship. A lot of times, your loved ones and other people around you might also notice and point out that something seems to be off. That you seem to be unhappy, or you seem to have changed when you are with this person. You don't look yourself. So there will be a lot of concern that you might see that others are showing towards you, and you might feel the need to actually defend your partner and to say that, hey, no, things are okay, and I'm really happy. And sometimes we have bad times, and there will be so many things that he's going through a lot. So you will say a lot of things to defend your relationship, your partner. These are some of the signs that you can really look within yourself and identify if this is something that you resonate with. There are also a lot of signs that you can look at when it comes to the dynamics of the relationship itself. The relationship starts to look very, very different when it's toxic. So very importantly, one, there is a lot of hostility in communication. So constantly there is yelling, there is name calling. The person might start throwing or breaking things when they're angry. and sometimes give you an entire silent treatment for days on. There'll be a lot of sarcasm, a lot of criticism. So these become the typical ways of communicating, not one-off, but these are the typical patterns in which communication happens. Whenever there's a conflict, it leads to all of this. There will also be a lot of controlling behaviors. So the person starts to manage your money. You have no say in how it's going to be used. The person starts to control who you talk to. They probably have access to all your personal devices, all your accounts. They tell you how to dress, how to behave, where to go, whom to talk to. So a lot of your life becomes managed and controlled by this person. So you start to feel suffocated, but at the same time, you still continue to stay in the relationship for reasons that I'll talk about later. This person also feels very at this while they have control over your life, they themselves are maintaining a lot of secrecy about their life. So you'll often notice that they are probably lying. They are not telling you the whole truth. They are being very, very secretive about their ways, and at the same time, you'll see that they also have a lot of jealousy about it. Things that you're successful at, things that you're good at, they will never be appreciative, or they will never really take it at face value. They'll always find a way to put you down, to belittle you, to make you feel like you're not good enough, you're not worth it. And therefore, in the relationship, because of the communication issues that I spoke about also, you often feel that I really can't voice my concerns. I can't really voice my feelings because what's the point? We'll anyway end up in a fight, and it'll anyway end up in yelling and breaking things. So you are not going to be heard is the constant feeling that you have in this relationship, right? In fact, a lot of times when you actually start voicing what you feel, it ends up in you having to comfort and console that person rather than receiving comfort and support. Right? And therefore you feel like you are doing all the hard work, you are doing all the compromises, everything that is needed to keep the relationship going, and there is no effort from this person to support you or to do things that are important for you. And often you will see that these partners come with a very quick temper. These temper outbursts can be very unpredictable, and they will even blame it on you. If you confront them about it, they'll say that's probably something that you did or you provoked it. And there's constant depreciation about your worth. They might belittle you, humiliate you in front of your friends and family. And also they may act at times very, very non-dependable, where they may suddenly stop calling, they may suddenly ghost you for a few days. They will not be consistent in their commitments or their promises that they have made. So you will almost start to question their emotional commitment to the relationship. Are they really in it? Are they not? It leaves you wondering. And while at the same time, on the other hand, they can actually become very possessive or paranoid as well. They'll be very suspicious of you, use technology to track your movements, ask to see your phone, interrogate you about where you have been. So you could have both ends, but at the end of the day, what you are left feeling with is not safe, is you're feeling really monitored all the time. You're feeling ashamed. You are feeling really scared also. So those are some of the ways that you can really tell that a relationship is toxic. I want to add a bit here that above and beyond all of these issues, it's important to know if the relationship is actually abusive. So where there is clear physical or sexual or emotional violence, when there are threats of self-harm, that the person is threatening to harm themselves or you to keep the relationship going, if they are actively using fear and intimidation to control your actions, or they are gaslighting you, where they are really making you question your version of reality and facts, that constitutes an abusive relationship. And it's important to know that no matter what, it's not okay for you to go through any abuse or any violence. It's not okay at all, and it's important that you address that immediately.
Whatever is symptoms or signs that you have spoke about the toxic relationship, none of them makes you feel good, but then still people choose to stay in that relationship for quite a long time before they really voice out or take any action. Why is that? Why is that trend seen normally?
In fact, it's all the more for toxic and abusive relationships that people tend to stay in it because of the emotional needs that we also have, right? So we are probably too dependent on them emotionally. We are too scared at times to leave them, to imagine what would happen if I were to exit this relationship. That possibility seems so scary. And like I said, through the course of the relationship, our self-worth kept on decreasing. It kept on shrinking, and it got affected so much that we start to believe that we deserve no more. That's all we deserve, and we decide to settle for this relationship. And our need for intimacy, to be with someone or to not be alone, sometimes can be so high. The fear of being alone can be so high that we are willing to exhaust ourselves to have somebody in our life, however that relationship might be. And also another pattern of toxic relationships is that the rewards or the gains that you get of being in the relationship are very inconsistent and very unpredictable. Like, you don't know when are the good days, when it's going to be, when you're going to have a good conversation, when are you going to feel actually intimate with the person. It's very, very unpredictable, right? And actually research shows that when rewards are unpredictable, it's that point when that's the recipe for being addicted to something, right? So they can actually make you stay in it much more stronger, because you end up working and you end up towards these rewards, hoping to receive it at some point or another, because you don't know when it's coming. So you always keep working hard to receive it. And it's difficult for anybody, for most of us, to see it as toxic when we are in it. Okay, unless you are really presented with these signs, unless you read up, unless you have psychoeducation, unless you get professional help, or you really start to see the things the way they are. But even if you don't, it's not your fault, is the message that I want to leave you with.
Right. And if I understand, let's say from my friends or from my colleagues or whatever, that yes, looks like there is something wrong with this relationship, I am in a toxic relationship, what should you do?
So first, like I said, identify if it's an abusive relationship. Any violence is absolutely not okay, and it needs to stop immediately. There is no excuse for violence, and it is never your fault. So seek help. Reach out to friends or family or to professional to seek help with a violent relationship. For all other toxic behaviors that I spoke about, it's important that you set firm limits and confront your partner. Be assertive about what it is that you feel. Because the pattern is that you also have not expressed yourself fully for the fear of that it will upset them. So stop doing that. Stop lying or stop withholding yourself for the fear of upsetting this partner. Call them out on their behaviors and patterns. Say that this is not okay and that you will not have it that way, right? And observe if you see that there is any change in the relationship, right? And assess for yourself if it is something that can be really fixed. Is there scope for honesty? Is there scope for genuine willingness to work on the relationship? And if not, then prepare yourself to walk away from it. And while you prepare to walk away, also think of how you will support yourself through that journey and post it. Will you be okay? How are you going to handle the breakup? Yeah. Do you have enough support system around you who you can lean on when this relationship suddenly no longer exists? So prepare yourself also if you want to walk away from it.
Right. And if one decides to walk out of the relationship, then after that relationship is ended, are there any small tips or tricks to, basically help them heal from that or recover from that heartbreak or relationship break?
So there are a few tips that you should keep in mind, something that you should remember if once you've ended or come out of a toxic relationship. So one, realize that you deserve healthy love, irrespective of whether you're successful or not, your appearance, your personality, and whatever it is that your partner made you believe you were not, right? Irrespective of all of that, you deserve healthy love that is caring, that is compassionate, yeah, and that is really attuned to your needs. So you deserve that. Realize that. And surround yourself with people who care for you. Like I was saying earlier, keep a strong support system around you, because you're going to need that when you've just ended something really difficult, right? And forgive yourself, importantly, for staying in that relationship. I see that a lot of people start to feel ashamed, very guilty, very angry at themselves when they realize that they've been betrayed, that they've been tricked, or they couldn't see the red flags sooner. And they really start to blame themselves. So, but understand that there were certain needs of yourself that you were trying to meet through that relationship. There were certain circumstances created by this person that made it difficult for you to leave. So at any point, it was not your fault or not your shortcoming for not being able to see a way out. And it's a good thing that you did come out of it, but it was not your fault to also stay in it, right? It's very important also to not try and connect again with this person when you're feeling emotionally vulnerable. And if possible, avoid also following them, stalking them on social media, because it can be a big trigger again. It can trigger all those difficult emotions that you went through while you were in the relationship. Also, don't expect any sense of closure or apology or anything from that person. If you feel that, only when they come and apologize, only when they come and admit that all the things that they did is when I'll feel closure, it's not likely that it will happen, and it's unrealistic to hold yourself to that, and only then will you achieve closure. It's unrealistic to hold yourself to that expectation, right? So don't expect that. And on the back end, then also try small rituals to reconnect with yourself, because a lot of yourself would have gotten really deeply affected by being in that relationship. So reconnect with yourself in small ways. Get back to your interests, get back to your hobbies, whether it's art, dance, reading, sports, whatever it is that you enjoy doing by yourself or with your friends. Try connecting with these things again. Practice basic self-care, pay attention to your needs. Ensure that you're eating and sleeping well. Take time off work if you can do that. Be patient, because there will be some days which will be really bad. You will have crying outbursts. You will probably want to go back to that person. And some days may be good, where you end up having a good time with your friends. You are probably okay also staying alone. So there will be good days, there will be bad days. It may take a while for you to really completely, come out of it. So be patient with yourself. And also, again, really important for the future is to try and reflect on what are some of the things that you will no longer tolerate in the next relationship that you will have, right? What are some of the things that you want to tell yourself that has come out of learnings from this relationship? What are things that you would want to see in a person where it would be important for you to feel respected, to feel loved, and to feel supported? What are those things that you would want in a person? And take it slow, I would say, because give yourself time to recover, and give yourself that space also to be with yourself before you move on to another relationship.
That's true. I think to come out of a toxic relationship, I think the relationship with yourself is probably the most important one that you need to look at, right? And in this whole process, I feel that, of course, friends and family is something that we can definitely look for support. But then sometimes if it goes beyond that, and if I really need to seek help, how iCall can help, how iCall can be a service which can be used for not just the toxic relationship, but for any other psychological issues. How I can take help from iCall. If you can just take our viewers through the simple process of how do we seek help from iCall.
So iCall is a national level professionally run psychosocial helpline, and it offers services, counseling services, and it's a team of trained counselors who will be providing these services. And the team is also multilingual, so you can really speak in any language that you feel comfortable in. And it's an anonymous, confidential service, so you don't have to worry also about giving in your personal details. There'll be just some basic information that we seek, but not really personal identifying information. And it's a free service entirely. The timings and the details are displayed on your screen. So the process is very simple. If it's the helpline that you're calling, you just pick up, and sometimes you may get a busy tone, but if you stay on, then you will directly be connected to a counselor. There's no IVR, there's no third person who picks up and then routes you to. It's directly the person that you get to talk to, and the process is very much like how it would be when you visit a face-to-face counselor. Yeah, so there'll be so you can schedule as many sessions as you want. You can speak for as long as you want, and you can really feel free to express your concerns. The counselors are also trained in a range of psychosocial issues across the lifespan. They are also queer affirmative. They are trained to be diversity friendly. They're trained to adopt a psychosocial lens, and they're also trained to be as much as possible also very gender equitous in their approach. So a lot of these values are part of iCall's core values as well, and they reflect in the counselors' work with their clients as well. And with email, you can always write an email, and within 24 hours, you're guaranteed to get a response.
Thank you so much, Sindhura, for being with us today and helping us understand this difficult topic in such a simple way. I would like to remind all the viewers once again that iCall is a service that is anonymous, confidential, and completely free of cost. So make use of that. Check around you. If your loved one or your neighbor or your friend or anyone, if you feel that they are in an abusive relationship, please pass this video on to them and ask them to seek help as soon as possible. If you feel your relationship is not really abusive, but maybe it is turning a little toxic, then you can use the tips given in this video to take the corrective steps. And if this goes beyond your management level, then please seek help in time. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done that. Share this information with as many people as possible so everyone around you as well remains safe and happy. Thank you so much. See you next time.